everyone, stop everything you're doing right now because what I'm about to reveal will completely change how you see the Las Vegas housing market in 2025. A former real estate developer who built hundreds of homes in Summerlin just leaked the shocking truth that there are way too many houses flooding the market and prices are secretly teetering on the edge of a cliff, even though nobody wants to admit it yet. So if you're thinking about buying, selling, or just curious why your neighbor's house has been sitting unsold for months, smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, drop a comment saying Summerlin crash so I know you're part of the smart money crew. And let's dive straight into the numbers that the big builders and realtors don't want you to see, because this could be the biggest shift in Southern Nevada real estate since the pandemic boom exploded everything out of proportion. Picture this. October 2025 rolls around and single-family home sales across the entire Las Vegas Valley suddenly plunge more than 10% compared to the year before. That's not some tiny seasonal hiccup. That's a full-blown red flag waving in your face. And at the exact same time, the number of homes just sitting there with no offers explodes by over 30% to a staggering 7,538 unsold properties, which translates into roughly 4.5 months of inventory when last year it was barely over 3 months. And for anyone who knows even a little about real estate, that swing from a tight seller's playground to a more balanced battlefield means buyers finally have room to breathe, negotiate, and actually think before throwing money at the first listing that pops up on Zillow. Yet here's the part that will make your jaw drop. Despite all these extra houses piling up and sales grinding to a halt, the median price for a single-family home in the Valley barely blinked, coming in at $474,370. That's only 0.2% lower than October 2024. Less than $1,000 difference, still hovering dangerously close to the all-time record high of $485,000 we saw earlier this year. So while the headlines screen cooling market, the price tag is acting like nothing happened, and that stubborn refusal to drop is creating a bizarre standoff between locked-in sellers who won't budge and cautious buyers who finally smell blood in the water. Now zoom out even further, and the active listing count across the whole valley has ballooned 37% compared to last fall, the biggest inventory surge in years, which means homes are lingering longer, sellers are sweating, and buyers are strolling through open houses like they own the place, asking for repairs, credits, and price cuts without breaking a sweat. But somehow the median price just sits there smirking, refusing to crack, almost daring the market to blink first. Condos and townhomes, on the other hand, didn't get the memo about holding the line because their median price cratered 9.5% from last year's peak to $285,000. Proving that not every segment of the market has the same armor against rising supply and picky buyers. And that split personality is exactly why you can't just look at one big number and call it a day. You have to dig into the neighborhoods, the submarkets, and the hidden incentives that are quietly reshaping everything behind the scenes. Let's rewind a minute, because none of this happens in a vacuum. Go back to 2020 and 2021 when 30-year fixed mortgage rates dipped below 3% and buyers lost their minds, bidding $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 over asking, waiving inspections, writing love letters to sellers just to get a foot in the door. That frenzy catapulted the Valley's median price all the way to $485,000 by the middle of this year. But then rates shot past 6% in 2022 and never really came back down, slamming the brakes on sales volume and creating what experts now call the lock-in effect. Millions of homeowners sitting on 2.75 or 3% mortgages who would literally have to double their monthly payment to move. So guess what? They're not moving. They're planting roots deeper than ever, which kept inventory artificially low for years, even as population kept pouring in. But something broke in 2025. The dam finally cracked, and all those sideline listings started flooding the market at once, pushing us into this weird limbo where supply is skyrocketing, yet prices refuse to collapse because the few sellers who do list are digging in their heels, demanding every penny of their pandemic equity, and betting that someone out there will still pay up. George Kyprow, the president of Las Vegas Realtors, summed it up perfectly when he said that with more homes available and buyers taking their sweet time, pricing and presentation have never mattered more. A house that's staged beautifully and priced realistically still flies off the shelf, sometimes even sparking multiple offers. But slap an optimistic price tag on it and watch it gather dust while the seller slowly realizes the party is over. That's exactly what happened to one local agent this fall who had two nearly identical listings on the same block. One priced $30,000 below recent comps, sold in 17 days flat. The other, priced above comps, sat for 3 straight months until the seller finally coughed up $20,000 in concessions just to get it gone. The message is crystal clear. Buyers are rewarding realism and punishing greed. And in a market with 4.5 months of inventory, realism is the only currency that still spends. Now let's zero in on Summerlin itself, because that master plan paradise on the western edge of the valley has always marched to its own beat, and the October numbers paint a picture that's equal parts fascinating and confusing. The overall median sale price for a single-family home in Summerlin hit $640,000. That's actually up 2.4% from last year, even as the broader valley cooled off.
But dig one layer deeper, and the price per square foot tells a different story, dropping 2.1% to $326, meaning buyers are getting a little more house for their money, even if the headline price looks stronger. And the average days on market stretched to 65, more than 2 months of waiting for most sellers, a far cry from the blink-and-you-miss-it sales of 2021. Break it down by sub-areas, and the contrasts get even sharper. Summerlin West saw a median of $832,000, matching that same 2.4% annual gain, but price per square foot plunged 5.7% to $339. And homes moved faster at 51 days on market. Still plenty of multiple offer pockets when the house checks every box, yet plenty of overpriced listings limping along because sellers haven't accepted the new reality. Then you have Summerlin south of the 215 Beltway, where the median soared to $850,000, up a whopping 6.6% year over year, the strongest gain in the whole community. Price per square foot dipped 3.9% to $323, and homes flew off the market in just 45 days on average. Golf courses, walking trails, proximity to downtown Summerlin, and that upscale resort vibe keep demand red hot for anything move-in ready. While Sun City Summerlin, the age-restricted gem for active adults, posted a median of $528,000, with agents reporting rock-steady interest from retirees who want low-maintenance living and gated security without the hassle of stairs or yard work.
Walk into any coffee shop in Sun City and you'll hear the same conversation playing out at a dozen tables. Retired couples staring at listing printouts, running the math on their 2.75% mortgage versus whatever 6-point-something% they'd have to swallow today. And for most of them, the numbers scream stay put, because trading at $1,200 payment for $2,400 just to get a different view of the mountains doesn't feel like winning. It feels like getting punished for surviving the pandemic. Yet every week, a few decide the pull of a newer floor plan or a quieter street is worth the hit, and those are the listings that keep the market moving, even as thousands of others stay locked in place. Meanwhile, out in the westernmost reaches of Summerlin West, massive land deals are quietly locking in the next chapter. Pulte Homes and KB Home just snapped up 87 acres along Far Hills Avenue for nearly $150 million. That's enough dirt for over 300 brand new houses, with model homes expected late 2026 and finished lots rolling out in quarterly waves to keep supply steady no matter how the market mood swings. And they're not alone. Back in 2021, Howard Hughes Holdings unloaded 216 acres near Town Center and Tropicana for $135 million, fueling the construction pipeline that's been feeding buyers ever since. So even as existing inventory climbs, builders are betting hundreds of millions that Summerlin's magic mix of schools, parks, and proximity to Red Rock Canyon will keep absorbing new rooftops for years to come. And don't forget the Hollywood factor, Sony's $1.8 billion studio campus and Warner Brothers' $8.5
billion expansion are both breaking ground right here in Summerlin thanks to a $4 billion state tax incentive package, promising thousands of jobs from grip electricians to visual effects artists. And every one of those paychecks needs a place to live, which is why parcel maps already show new neighborhoods sprouting up within biking distance of the studio backlots, turning dirt into driveways faster than most people realize. All that future supply would normally spook prices lower.
But here's where it gets interesting. Builders aren't just dumping houses and praying. They're sweetening the pot with incentives most buyers never even hear about unless they have a sharp agent in their corner. We're talking $20,000 to $25,000 closing cost credits on spec homes that need to move before the end of the quarter. 2-over-1 rate buydowns that slash your interest rate by 2 full points the first year and 1 point the second, turning a 6.5% loan into a 4.5% lifeline for the first 12 months, saving hundreds of dollars a month exactly when you need it most while you're still unpacking boxes. Plus free upgrades like quartz countertops, luxury vinyl plank flooring, stainless appliance packages, even full backyard landscaping with pavers and artificial turf so you don't inherit a dust bowl. And the savviest buyers are stacking these offers like poker chips. One recent closing I heard about combined $25,000 in credits, a full 2-1 buydown, refrigerator, washer, dryer, and blinds package for zero extra out-of-pocket on a $750,000 house. That's effectively a $50,000 discount if you do the math on the rate savings alone. But you have to know to ask, you have to push, and you have to close before the builder hits their quarterly numbers or the deal vanishes. That's why condos and townhomes deserve a giant caution sign right now. Median prices down almost 10% in a year, HOA headaches, stricter lending rules, and days on market stretching longer than single-family homes. So unless you're laser-focused on low maintenance and lock-and-leave convenience, the smart money is still chasing detached houses where the incentives are fattest and the appreciation potential remains strongest. So where does all this leave us as we head into winter 2025? Inventory is the highest it's been in years, sales volume is shrinking, mortgage rates refuse to drop below 6%, yet median prices across Summerlin are either holding steady or still creeping higher in the hottest pockets, creating a market that feels schizophrenic. One day you hear about a bidding war in Summerlin South, the next day you watch a desperate seller in the Vistas knock $30,000 off asking just to get out before the holidays. The truth is, power has quietly shifted into the hands of buyers who are ready,
Pre-approved and willing to negotiate, while sellers who price for 2021 are learning painful lessons about reality, and builders are basically paying people to take houses off their hands because they know the long game still favors growth, jobs, and population pouring into Southern Nevada, no matter what the Fed does next. If you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for some mythical crash that sends prices back to 2019 levels, you might be waiting forever because the underlying demand drivers, entertainment jobs, film studios, retiring baby boomers, remote workers fleeing high-tax states, haven't slowed down one bit. They've just become more selective, rewarding value and punishing overreach. My advice? If you're a buyer, get pre-approved today. Find an agent who actually knows which builders are desperate this quarter, tour everything in your range, and don't be shy about asking for the moon because the moon is suddenly on the menu. If you're a seller, look at the houses that are actually moving in your neighborhood, price at or below the last closed comp, stage it like your life depends on it, and be ready to offer concessions because the days of slapping any number on the MLS and watching offers pour in are gone. Maybe not forever, but definitely for now. And if you're just here for the drama, stick around because the next 6 months are going to separate the pros from the pretenders in Las Vegas real estate like nothing we've seen in a decade. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Summerlin prices hold through 2026, or are we one bad jobs report away from a real correction? Like this video if you learned something you didn't see on the news, share it with that friend who keeps bragging about their pandemic equity, and I'll see you in the next one where we break down exactly which neighborhoods are giving away the biggest incentives right now before the builders change their minds. Stay sharp out there. The desert real estate game just got a lot more interesting.